All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rachakodash. I want to give double honors to our apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings and salutation to you elect Akyam, and those are those brothers across the four winds of this earth, and those are those brothers kicking this word in sincerity and in truth. All right, I'm the brother Sha'ar from the Great Millstone Dallas camp, and I'm coming back at you with another lesson through the Spirit, Lord willing, it's edifying. All right, this lesson is going to be entitled something that I've been just thinking about. All right, I started thinking about it yesterday and intended to do a lesson on it, but the Spirit has me doing it right now. And by the way, it's in transit, so if you hear noise in the background, that's all this is. I'm on the road. What it's going to be entitled Divide and Conquer. All right. And when you really look up what divide and conquer is, let's see here. Let's pull up definition. So divide and conquer is, it says, the policy of maintaining control over one's subordinates or subjects by encouraging dissent between them. All right. And this is a strategy not only Esau uses, but this is a known strategy within itself when it comes to war. All right. And as it's written in the book of Exodus, let me get this real quick. Hold on one sec. These people tripping. Let's see here. Exodus chapter 15, I believe it's verse 3. And it says, the Lord is a man of war, Yahweh is his name. Okay, so since we already know that supreme deity, the supreme deity, the supreme being who the world, I should say, ignorantly calls God and ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, the scriptures considers these men or these powers, right, as you will, being men of war. Okay, because you think about it, war controls everything. War is surrounded by everything, bloodshed, death. Okay, but people don't understand why. The reason why it's so many wars happening right now, all right, so many people are dying across the world. Reason being is because the Lord is a man of war and he condones and sets all these things up. All right, so within that being the case, going back to divide and conquer, dividing and conquer is nothing but a war strategy that's been used for a long period of time. All right. And as you see, what Esau does right now, he puts dissent between us within our own thoughts and our actions. All right. And has us pretty much come against each other so we all can pretty much rule. All right. And, so he can rule, I should say. I'm sorry. So he puts a bunch of division amongst us so he can rule. Okay, within that being the case, he'll have you within that barbershop conversation, you know what I'm saying, debating one another. He's so crafty, he'll have certain individuals, the Bloods and the Crips, he'll set them up to be against each other. That way he can constantly keep us in this docile state of mind so we won't come to that conclusion. And when I say we, I'm talking about the nation in a whole, because, and again, there's a point that I'm steering up to. But so as a nation come up to a whole and come to agreement. And that's how he's always acted. Okay, that's how this devil has always acted when it came to us. Okay, divide and conquer. Even when he had Hellenized the known world around that time, and there were certain wicked men amongst Israel. All right, he had used them to kind of stir up drama and grief amongst us. Okay, but ultimately this stuff stems back to the Lord. This is the Lord's program. Okay, even when it comes to his chosen, even when it comes to Israel, period, he's having it to the point where Israel's going to be divided and the elect going to get beamed and the 2/3 are going to be destroyed and have to come back in that right state of mind. Okay, but, and I know I keep going back in history, but I mean, hey, as the scriptures say, all things are written aforetime for our learning. But you remember our kingdom, and as it was in the height of his glory, as it was in the height when David and Solomon ruled, the whole nation was unified. All right, the whole nation of Israel was unified. All right, and after Solomon fell, or after he transgressed, fell, what had taken place. The nation was rent. It was split. It was beef. Constant turmoil and things taking place back and forth, all right, among Israel, Northern Kingdom and Southern Kingdom. And that pretty much caused our enemies. I'll say this, it weakened us. And that's why our enemies pretty much came into play and started ruling over us. Okay? You know, it was a dispensation of time. But those are the things that had taken place. And going back to it, that's always how Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai had it set up. Okay? You know? But now as you look at it spiritually and what's going on, all right, as we've been such destroyed as a people, fighting amongst one another, literally fighting amongst one another, and the enemy has had time to build, to grow, all right, to strengthen themselves. You see their kingdom falling right before our eyes. All right. You have Gog and Magog fighting against the whore. And even in Revelation 18, I'm going to get that too. Bear with me 1 second because I'm driving. All right. So this is Revelation chapter 17, and I'm gonna read verse 15, and it says, "And he said unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues." Right. So these waters that it's talking about, how you read it early in Revelation, where it said the whore sat upon many waters, which are things that we should already know. Verse 16 says, "And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore." Now, who is the whore? The whore is America, all right? And the whore was pampered by this beast because of the amount of influence that she had to be able to sway this beast and do and have control over this beast however she will. And that beast pertaining to NATO and the EU. When it came to trade, all right, when it came to deals, so forth, they were all to a degree in unison. Okay, but as we see that we're in the end of days, and we see prophecy taking place, it's coming to a point where this beast is coming against this whore. And you read about that in Revelation, the 18th chapter. You read about how these other nations are going to start to despise this whore when they were all in unison at a point of time. Because when I'm going to say it like this, when somebody, for example, an animal tamer, when an animal has tamed a beast, all right, that beast and that person is in complete unison with one another to the point where the person has control over what that beast does, where it walks, where it goes, complete control. But now it's like a wild bull, you know, like a bull rider, you know, you sit on the bull thing and, you know, you're sitting there trying not to fall off. That's how it is right now spiritually. That's why I said she has a couple of abominations, and as that beast is swaying and moving, that filth is flinging and flying everywhere. All right. But going back to it, it says, "And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire." And that's what's going to come to pass when it comes to America. All right. You read about it in Ezekiel chapter 38. And Ezekiel chapter 39, how Russia or Gog, all right, which those people over there in that land right now are Edomites, just like over here, they're fighting among one another. They're fighting and they have complete disdainment toward one another. And not only them two, but Russia's going to be the biggest antagonist against Babylon to get all the stuff to fly off. But it's also the weaker nations and the smaller nations. And a lot of those are Edomites. So as we see, and even within this own country, there's battling going back and forth, lying against one another. I mean, look at politics. Even though we know they all sit behind the same seat, but it's still deceit and it's still disdainment that they all have one for another. Divide and conquer. So the moral of the lesson is pretty much how Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is stirring these things up among our enemies, amongst these Edomites. He's dividing it just like how they done to us. He's dividing everything now. so he can conquer. Now, does he need to divide everything in order to conquer it? No. But it's a well-used strategy when it comes to war. It's a very well-used strategy when it comes to war, and it's been proven to be effective. All right? And that's what he's doing. He's using the angels to stir up the minds on these current rulers that are right here. And he's causing them to be proud amongst one another and cause anger and strife to get built up between the two based on decisions that they make, which at the end of the day, the Lord's controlling them to make these decisions. Matter of fact, let's pull this up here in Daniel. This is Daniel chapter 7 and 20. And we're reading about those horns again. But now this is pertaining to the Roman Empire. All right. And the thing about the Roman Empire, it had a bunch of other smaller empires that were tributary and subject unto it, you know, kind of to a degree, its own beast system back then. Because we see this beast system today, it's nothing but a revised, all right, strengthened version of what it used to be back around the time of the Roman Empire. Okay. That's what it is. So as we read this here in Daniel chapter 7, verse 20, it says, and of the 10 horns that were in the head, and of the others which came up, and before whom there fell, even of that horn had it eyes, and the mouth spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellow. All right. So we see this system right here where we live. All right. America, for the brothers that might not live here, I'm talking about America. And we see the energy that is pushing among his fellow peers, and how his fellow peers that loved it so dearly, all right, to the point where they're coming against it. And the Romans, not the Romans, I'm sorry, but the Russians are starting this. And the thing about the Russia and America, they really ain't dig each other. You know what I'm saying? But again, it just goes into how these are the same people, but they're divided against each other. But he's stirring Gog and Magog is stirring the minds up of all the rest of the kings of the earth to be like, look, man, this bitch ain't what she was supposed to be. All right, she got warts, she got rashes, bitch got HIV, and y'all over there still wanting to intermingle with her. Everything's corrupt that's brought about her. They're spreading these rumors about this place, you know, which the rumors are found to be true, and this place is found to be lacking and wanting. And that's going to cause this place to be destitute. Okay? So, you know, just going into this, man, hey, as it's written, and I'm going to end it off in this here in Luke. And I'm getting ready to enter into work, so bear with me one sec, Bubba Kashaw. I believe it's Luke 12 and 41. It's been a minute since I pulled the scripture up. Bear with me. This is Luke chapter 12, verse 50. And it says, hold on. It says, but I have a baptism to be baptized. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm going to start at verse 49. And he says, I am come to send fire on the earth. And what will I if it already be kindled? Why is it already going to be kindled? Because it's going to be war on the planet Earth when he comes back. It's going to be judgment taking place. Those nukes are going to be flying. All right. The whore of Babylon is going to be in the process of being burned with fire, as we had read pertaining to Revelation chapter 7. Okay. And it says, but I have a baptism to be baptized with. And how am I straitened till it be accomplished? Suppose ye that I am come to give peace on earth. I tell you, nay, but rather division. All right. Because people are under the whole misconception that the Lord is coming to give peace on the earth. Give me one sec. I got to badge into my job. Hold on. Well, I can talk still. But people are under the misconception that the Lord is coming to bring peace on the whole planet Earth. As they say, peace in the Middle East. You know what I'm saying? Hold on. Yeah, I got a badge in. Give me one sec. Take it easy, bro. All right, Salakia. But people are under the misconception that it's going to be peace on the earth. Everybody's going to be unified. Everybody's going to come together finally. No. And the Lord has never been about that. The Lord has always been about that action. He's always been about that drama. All right. So how much more can you apply this toward the end when this whole earth was sown in drama, action, blood, so forth? Everything you see in this earth, even starting with Babylon, really, because this place was brought up by the seed. But as these Edomites are ruling, not even just Babylon, but these other countries, they had to take this place by blood. in the same way that they used, the same strategies that they used to take this place, caused certain people to war with one another, planted certain cells amongst them. When I say cells, I'm talking about sleeper agents to pretty much change the minds of people. You know what I'm saying? To cause delusion and ruckus. You know, that's taking place right now on the spiritual side. The angels are the pieces that the Lord is using to create a ruckus amongst Esau's house. The Lord has his own strategies that he's using. And that strategy of divide and conquering starts from Yahweh Shai. And he even says, in that day, I shall separate the sheep from the goats. All right. So the Lord's elect are going to be delivered. They're going to be in the right state of mind. They're going to be preaching the gospel. Hey, as you know, going into it, we're heralds of the Most High. So we're calling in our king. We're introducing and paving the way for our king as we're down here in the land that doesn't serve the Lord, in the land that considers Caesar still to be king. And we're calling in the new king. We represent those sheep. All right. And that division is taking place. The division is taking place spiritually. The Lord is calling his men out there. And the division is taking place physically. All right, as we see it, this place is breaking to pieces. It's in shambles. All right. So, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. Double honors to our apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings and salutations to you elect Akyam across the four winds of this earth, kicking this word in sincerity and in truth. All right, shalom.